Hey everybody, it's LaRonda. I'm here today. I wanted to do a quick live video and talk about a few things that had been on my mind today and just come in and say hi to everyone. So, one of the first things that I have been thinking about today is living without regrets. I remember this one time back in 2003, and for a long time, I remembered the exact day and month of that day. But now I just remember that it was October something of 2003, and I was riding on the train on my way to school that day on the L in Philadelphia. And that morning, I saw what at that time was one of the most beautiful men that I had ever seen in my life. Okay? So I saw him and it was like I was mesmerized by him. Like I didn't say anything. All I could do was stare, which was probably a little bit creepy. I mean, I tried not to do it so obviously, but all I could do was just stare at him, right? And so when he eventually got off the train, I think eye contact and kind of smile at each other or whatever, but I did not make any moves or particular thing to go towards him and talk to him. And he got off the train at 8th and Market, I believe. And so I felt kind of bummed that whole day. And of course, I was beating myself up about the fact that I didn't, try to make conversation with him or something like that. Because, like, what I could have easily done, well, not so easily, I won't say it was easily, but what I could have done was get up from my seat maybe and when we made eye contact and smiled at each other, I probably did one of those shy look at him, smile and look away type things. And, who knows? Maybe he thought that I was just being nice and that there was no real interest, that it was just, another person on the train smiling and saying hi or whatever. But I could have easily gotten up and maybe went over there and talked to him or said something just to see. But it wasn't going to be an easy thing to do, but it was like a type of thing that you would have to like man up and do. And I didn't do that. Oh, let me turn this way. Maybe it's more light this way. And so I ended up beating myself up about that all day that day, just beating myself up about the fact that I did not talk to this man that I thought was so beautiful, and he had smiled at me and I smiled at him and all that. So the day went on, and I, went through my day, and I ended up getting back on the train to go back home that afternoon. And who was on that train that day, that afternoon, but that same guy again? And I was like, oh my God, what are the odds that he would be back on this train again? But do you think that I took advantage of the fact that I was given a second chance at something that I had been beating myself up about all day? Nope. I sat there. I think I was able to. I saw him. I'm not sure if he saw me because if I'm not mistaken, I remember him being on the next car over. And he got off at Ellsworth Federal. If you're in Philly, you know some of these L stations, and never to be seen again. And so, of course, I was beating myself up still again. And I tried to put myself back in different situations to see if I would be able to run into this guy again. And I never was able to. Like, sometimes I would, try to get on the train at the same time and stuff like that. And I never saw him again. And so the moral of that story is, if you are interested in somebody, I mean, you really don't have a whole lot to lose. The most you can lose from letting somebody know that you like them or that you're interested in them is maybe like a little bit of pride if things don't work out, or if he doesn't, he or she doesn't feel the same way that you do. But for me, the feeling of regretting a situation after it's passed and wishing, like, what if I had gone ahead and spoken to him? What if I had gotten up from my seat and went over and started a conversation? Like, to this day, we could have been married, Maybe not, but I'm just saying. Um, and so for me, the pain of the regret of what if I had said something is much deeper than the pain of maybe a few minutes of him saying to me, no, I'm not interested, or I have a girlfriend, or, whatever. You could get over that, but like, to this day, that's a story that I will always remember as one of those situations that I let pass by, not once, but twice. So, and that sort of leads me to a conversation that I had with a friend last night, talking about crushes and stuff like that. And he had mentioned to me that someone we both know had a crush on me. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, I interact with with this person a lot, not a lot, but like on different occasions or whatever, and I never would have known that he had a crush unless if my friend hadn't told me. And so often, like, I remember this is another little story, when I was working at one of the first company that I worked with when I got down here to Puerto Rico, that's on the island. I saw this, and I had a major crush on him. And so, when I saw him, sometimes I would get real stupid and nervous. You know how you feel when you have a crush on somebody and they don't know it, but like whenever you get around them, your heart starts to beat fast and you get, like flustered and you don't know what to say or what to do with those moments. And so, like, sometimes I would see him on the elevator and, I would try to make conversation with him as much as possible, and try for it to not sound and be so stupid. But sometimes especially for me, when I'm trying to learn Spanish and still trying to figure out all the words and trying to understand the accent of the island and what people are saying to me and stuff. So, like, of course, on top of just the regular nervousness of liking someone, there's also that nervousness of trying to figure out what you're going to say in those moments when you run into him. And so I had to just end up getting comfortable with the fact that every time I saw him, it was an opportunity for me to try to get to know him and see what kind of person he was and whatever. And it wasn't necessarily that I needed to let him know that I liked him right away, but I tried to talk around to friends or people that I thought that he may know, or that they may know him, and see what his situation was to kind of make my load a little bit lighter. At least I could know if he had a girlfriend or if he was married or some of these things. So then I could sort of save myself from talking to him if that was the case. And over time, I ended up finding out that he wasn't married, but he did have a girlfriend, which was good because then I knew I didn't have to necessarily approach him or be so very nervous around him. And even though that situation didn't come into fruition, and I still to this day never told him that I had a crush on him at that time, he ended up being a super cool guy to just talk to, and he was one of the few people that I found easy to converse with in Spanish. And it was odd because most of the time it's really hard for me to find my words and figure things out, what people are saying, and they're talking so fast and everything. But I always felt like he made me feel very comfortable speaking in Spanish. And so there were times towards the end of, I guess, the last year or two there, sometimes we would run into each other in one of the restaurants around the job, and we'd sit together at lunch and just talk. So even though I never told him that I had a crush on him, I was glad that I did the research that I did. I didn't just kind of let it go. And I was also glad that I was able to make some sort of a friendship with him over that time. And I didn't have to live with the regret of not knowing what it would have been had I not sat down and talked to him or tried to get to know him and that kind of thing. So I guess I say all that to say that if there's somebody that you're interested in or that you think even you could possibly be interested in, the best thing to do is just try and see. Try to make conversation with the person because you'll never know how that person feels about you unless you talk to them or somehow give them some sort of clue. Because, like, when my friend told me this, I was like, I had no idea that this guy even liked me at all, other than like just being friendly, because we're always friendly with each other around the office. And so, that's all it had ever been. I always think, oh, that's a nice friendly guy. He's nice and give me compliments on certain things or whatever. But like a lot of people compliment me on a lot of stuff, so like that's never something that just would automatically make me think that he had a crush on me. Like I would just think he was being nice. So I think that when it comes to these kind of things, I would just rather live with that pain of getting rejected than live with the pain of never knowing what would have happened had I said what I had to say about any situation with a man, or not going through the motions of whatever. Oh, sorry, you guys, that my nose ring is always twisting around and so anyway, yesterday was it was interesting in that, and it just reminded me of these things. So like if you guys ever think about, if you ever find somebody that you're interested in, try to let them know, because I mean, you don't want to be thinking about 10, 15 years later like I am. Sometimes I still think about that man on the train. I mean, and he probably wouldn't have been good for me, because I think on the second time that I saw him he was smoking, and smoking is not really my thing. But just think about that. Think about the things all the opportunities that you could have missed or that you have missed in your life because you were too afraid to do or to make the move or whatever. Just try it, and that way you'll always know, okay, well, I turned that stone over, there was nothing under it, so I don't have to worry about what would have happened if I had turned it over. And what else? Yesterday, I got my hair straightened for the first time, and it and straightened and cut. Like, so, I am very funny about people touching my hair and putting their hands in my hair and cutting it and combing it and stuff like that, because I mean my hair is very, it's natural, but my strands are very thin and wispy and stuff like that. And so like I notice a lot of times when other people do it, they don't do my hair as gingerly as I do and try to finger detangle it most of the way. And, they just kind of rake the comb through, and which breaks your hair off a lot. So, anyway, yesterday was a work party and I wanted to do something different. So, I was going to straighten my hair myself, but I did it and it just went right back to uh, so I figured, all right, maybe I'll just go to the salon. So I went and they, did wash my hair, conditioned it, and did me a blowout. And after the blowout, then she was like, "Oh, well, I just need to cut some of it." And she cut so much of my hair. Like, as you can see, my hair is so short now. And like it used to be much longer than this, and it's so short. And I was so disappointed. Like, and then after the whole thing, I had spent all this time and money to go to this salon and get my hair done, and it's still kind of puffed up. So, like overnight, you can see that it has puffed up a little bit. It's not straight. It's still a little bit straight, the ends, but like I put it in Bantu knots overnight to try to maintain some of it. But like by the end of the night of the party, the hair, like, it was down, but then it, like, as the party went on, the hair just continued to rise, and sort of it was like a straightened type of afro. So anyway, I'm going to be trying to work with this and grow it back out, and I think I've learned my final lesson is that I will never let another person touch or straighten, or do anything. I may let someone straighten it, but like it won't be a beauty parlor who thinks that they have to cut it in order for it to look good in a certain style or whatever. So I'm never doing that again. So lesson learned there, kind of the hard way, because I had been growing my hair out since I cut my, not cut, since I combed my dreads out. I had been growing my hair out since, so I guess that's about since 2017. And I had grown my hair out a lot, and it was really still growing and everything. And then to have it, this whole setback with the cut and everything. And if you know anything about black women's hair, you know that it's not so easy, like, oh, the hair will just grow back and whatever. It takes time and lots of effort and attention for a black woman to really grow her hair out, at least for a black woman with my hair texture to grow her hair out. I'll put it like that. So anyway, you guys, I will let this be that. um so I will revel in this setback that I'm having with my hair, and I will, use this as an opportunity to let my hair grow back sort of evenly, and, in some sort of, in a way that is more even all the way around, and whatever. We'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this live video whenever you get a chance to watch it. I didn't want to be one of those people that sits on the live video waiting for people to sign up, because my channel is still very new and I don't have a lot of subscribers, so I just went ahead and started talking. But hopefully when you do watch this video that you will enjoy it, and let me know what you think about, living with regrets. Tell me some of the stories that you have of people that you've dated, um, or people that you've wanted to date and didn't tell, and what was the end result of that. And I'm going to give you this book recommendation that that I read last week, and it's called "Men Don't Date Women Like You." And there's a second part of it, like it's like the brutal truth. And anyway, I got it on Audible. It's by a man named G.L. Lambert, and it really has changed my perception about dating and the way I approach men and stuff. He talks about being like confident and stuff like that, and not caring whether men like us, and being more like whether you like him, and not putting men on pedestals and stuff like that. When you like them, you tend to put them up on a pedestal, just like how I've done in the past with people that I was scared to approach, because I've put them somehow on a pedestal, and made it so that, I was afraid to make that move, and sort of made them into a celebrity and somebody that was untouchable and unobtainable and all that kind of stuff. But like, what if I turned that whole attitude around and just not care? Just think of men as other people, other human beings that have their flaws and imperfections just like you do, and maybe are looking for the exact same things that you are out of life. And so instead of like being all like, scared and leery of talking to a guy, to just go ahead and put your big girl drawers on and do it. Put your big girl panties on and talk to the men that you're interested in, and see whether they would be somebody that's worthwhile for you, and not put so much emphasis on whether you are the one for them. The funniest thing about this book, especially, well, as far as the Audible version is concerned, that it is clearly written by a black man who is speaking in like more hood type of, like, he's speaking like he's from the hood. And I love that about the book, but the funny part is that they have this older, like, white man reading it. And so that part of the book sort of cracked me up. So if you're interested in getting the book and sort of hearing what I'm talking about, you can get the Audible version on Audible, which I will also, I'll link the book in the comments. But I definitely recommend the Audible version just for that little comic relief. But it was a great book. It was eye opening to me. I mean, truly made me think about the way I'm approaching dating and the way that I've approached dating in the past, why probably certain things with men in my past have not worked out. Like, it really held up a mirror to my face about what I was doing wrong in dating and how I could be a better dater in terms of my own attitude that I'm bringing to the table when I'm, talking to the men, and the vibe that I'm putting out there with them. We don't want to go into these situations with a fear or lack mentality, like, I have to make this work. Like, I have personally done that. Like, when there's somebody that looks really good on paper, they've got a good job, they are seem like financially stable, have raised their children well or are raising their children well, good fathers, good providers, all that kind of stuff. So if they have all those things, but there's not as much chemistry as I would like, and all that stuff. So I would kind of push through the fact that we didn't have the chemistry that I would really love to have in a relationship and really require, in an effort to keep something going, because this guy was good, and maybe this type of man doesn't come along that often, and blah blah blah. But like, at the end of the day, that's a fear response, and a response of like not feeling like life is abundant, and that everything you want and need is out there for you. And so, I personally have done that. I remember with the last guy that I kind of dated really seriously, like, our chemistry was not that great. Like, sexually, mentally, like, yeah, we had good conversations over the phone, but when we got together in person with each other, it was just not the same. And you want to be in the presence of someone that makes you laugh, and you guys laugh and talk about anything. Like, you can just sit and talk for hours about any and everything. And we were able to do that over the phone, but like, for whatever reason, when we got in person, it just was not like that. And in the bedroom, he was just not the best for me. Like, I really needed something different than what he had to offer. And so the situation just didn't work out. But like, in my mind, I would have wanted to continue it, because there was a part of me that felt like that was the last chance I was going to get to have someone who liked to travel like I did, had the means to travel like I did, had already raised his children, seemed to be a decent father, blah blah blah, like, had a good job, seemed to have a good, head on his shoulders as far as his business and finances and all that kind of stuff. So I was pushing through the fact that we had zero chemistry in person with each other and zero chemistry in the bedroom. Not zero, but like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say our chemistry in those areas was probably like a 2 in the bedroom, and maybe like a 5 for like, chemistry with talking to each other and stuff like that. So, I have had to change my mentality and my mindset when it comes to these men. Instead of like going through with something that I know was not the right thing for me, to just realize there's more men out here, and that I can attract them, and I don't have to stick in a relationship that doesn't work for me, because I'm afraid that that's the last man I'm ever going to meet that has some of the qualities that I'm interested in having for a relationship. So, yeah. I'm going to link that book in the comments. I definitely suggest it to anybody that's interested in knowing how to attract men, knowing where your failures may be. Like, if you're really open to looking, taking a really clear and honest look at yourself and your own behaviors over the years, um, it may be a good book for you. I know a lot of times people sort of are against these books that are telling women what to do, but like I will tell you, it really opened my eyes to what I've been doing wrong. I mean, if you want to hear it from a man, what a man likes and what a man looks for as far as how he decides that you're somebody he's can spend a lifetime with, or whether you're just a placeholder, is what they call them in the books, what they call women who men, just see on a temporary basis just to fill a need at the time, or whether you want to move on to being someone that a man really sees as a longtime companion and somebody that he can build a life with. I think this book will be good for you. Just put your egos aside. You're gonna have to do that. But it will definitely force you to have to put that ego aside, and that need to be right, and need to feel like what you're doing and all that. You have to put all that aside and be open to this information that this man is giving. So anyway, I enjoyed the book, and it's going to be in heavy rotation for me when I forget, or when I notice that I'm getting back into some of my old patterns. It's definitely going to be one of those books that I go back to remind me of, where I should be, and how I should be going about things when it comes to the men that gravitate into and out of my life. So anyway, I know I said about 10 minutes ago that I was going to end this now, but I am going to end it now for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. I am also looking forward to more talks like these on this channel. Maybe I'll do maybe I'll set up a date and time so that everybody knows when I'm going to come and do a live chat. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Happy dating, everybody. Bye. I really don't know how to stop this.